I come from a community that until my generation, my family lived sustainably off the land. As a young child, I grew up seeing the abundant plant and life and animals that grew in our homelands. Our community was self-sufficient. My father's generation lived and thrived off the land that we were connected to and connected to the sacredness of Mother Earth. But as I get older, this is becoming more and more difficult in our traditional territories due to the tar sands. Now with the expansion of our tar sands, what we see is the landscape changing from a pristine, beautiful boreal forest to an increasing industrial terrain. We see mines the size of cities in our territories. We see the pristine, beautiful forest being decimated, fragmented, and scraped away, all for tar sands oil. Shame. Before, my family was able to drink from the waters, but now people no longer feel safe to do so. The air was clean and pure, and now it's being polluted by tar sands operations. Just me coming here today, just breathing the air felt so good to my lungs. And I never thought that would happen in my lifetime. Never would I imagine this. My father, who's a hunter, has harder and harder of a time finding moose, a staple for our communities, a food that I grew up on. People fear the land because it is becoming contaminated. We fear to harvest our medicines, pick the berries, and we think one day that the land will become unlivable. People in the northern part of Alberta are deeply worried about what is happening to the earth, about our future generations and how and if they will be able to live sustainably and have a healthy life on the land, living through the exploitation of the tar sands. Our way of life is being replaced by industrialized landscapes where the health of the land is becoming highly compromised. Last year, when I returned home to the place where I was born, what I witnessed was one of the biggest oil spills in Alberta's history. It was a landscape forever changed by oil that had consumed a vast stretch of our territory, where my family had once hunted, harvested medicines, picked berries, fished, and for generations. For days following up to that time, when the government finally informed our family 5 days later, my family was sending me text messages telling me of burning eyes, headaches, nausea, dizziness, asking me if I could find out more information. My auntie, who's a school teacher there in the community, asked me if I could find out how big the oil spill was, and even if it was an oil spill. It wasn't until 5 days later, a day after the federal election, that the information was released to the community. And what was released to the community was that it was one of the biggest oil spills in Alberta's history, 7 kilometers away from where my family lives. More than 5 million, almost 5 million liters of oil had leaked into the land. 28,000 barrels was spilled into our traditional territory. And never would I hope that that anyone ever has to experience this. It broke my heart, telling my family that the oil fumes that they were breathing were probably toxic, and that was probably what was making them sick. Seeing the land dead before my eyes, and feeling helpless to be able to protect my family, something deep inside me broke. And still till this day, I continue to carry that grief and the sadness from knowing what our people are going through and what is happening to the land, and that the land and people will never be the same. And I would hope that no other community would have to go through this. And that's why I'm here today. I would hope I would hope that no other community would have to question if they should stay in their homes or leave the community because of an oil spill. Every day that passed during that time, there were questions if small children should be there, if pregnant women should be there, if elders should be taken out of the community because of existing health conditions. And the government tried so hard to deny that there was a problem. And instead of coming to the aid of the community, they put the community and my family at risk. Shame. And the sad and frustrating thing about this is that my family has not been the first, but may not be the last to experience this terrifying situation. And that's why, shame, we need to stop pipelines and tankers from coming to this coast. We must stop the tar sands before it spreads like tentacles and continues to impact more and more communities, and we need to stop it before it's too late. The government should represent and they should protect the people that they claim to represent. But instead we see communities being sacrificed for the profit of a few. We see inherent Aboriginal and treaty rights being violated in the name of the tar sands, rights that are enshrined in the Constitution of Canada, rights that should be protected. Tomorrow, the Athabasca Chipewyan First Nation will present a constitutional challenge to stop the expansion of the tar sands in their traditional territory. They hope to stop the expansion of the Jack Pine mine, and they hope to stop it at the source. This constitutional challenge is historically significant because it may be one of the only remaining pieces of law that can stop the destruction in our traditional territories. The expansion of the project would increase tar sands production by 100,000 barrels, bringing production in that mine to 300,000 barrels per day. Shame. And it would extend the life of the mine to 2049. Shame. Constitutional challenges from tar sands impacted community are a pinnacle point for the tar sands fight. And as we stand here today, let us send prayers to this brave community who will be challenging one of the biggest oil companies in the world tomorrow in their constitutional challenge. To learn more about how to support this community, you can go to stopshell.com to take more action. And today, to finish, we are calling on the BC, Alberta, and the Harper government to become truly accountable to the people they claim to represent. We know that we cannot sustain the massive industrial projects in the tar sands. We know we cannot build more pipelines to put more communities under threat, and we know we cannot allow oil tankers to traverse this beautiful west coast because we know there is too much at stake. And today we stand up to be counted. Our message are echoing from coast to coast. And what we are demanding today is necessary. And this is why today actions like this are so important. And today we stand in unison with many voices, but with one strong message: no tar sands, no pipelines, and no tankers. Hi. Thank you very much.